Good morning and welcome to Agatha's Kitchen. If you remember back in the recesses of your memory, pre-pandemic, we started a series on the 7 fishes for the Christmas Eve meal. In the past, we've made crab stuffed portobello mushrooms. We made pasta with white clam sauce and an octopus salad with Sicilian olives. My mom used to fry all day long to get the other 7 fishes ready. However, I'm not as diligent as she is. So I found a seafood casserole which has 3, and I'm going to make that today. However, I always find that there's someone who can't eat shellfish. So today I'm going to show you how we can take the seafood recipe, which has shrimp, scallops, and fish, and turn it into just plain old fish. It's not a hard recipe and doesn't take a lot of time. So if you're ready, let's get started. This is a really simple recipe. You need 3 pounds of anything. 3 pounds of shrimp, 3 pounds of scallops, any combination. I've chosen to use the shrimp, the scallops, fish, and I'm going to throw in some minced clams as well, only because I can. But the good thing about this is you can buy shrimp all peeled and deveined, frozen ahead of time when it's on sale. You can buy the Cape scallops as opposed to the big bay scallops. They're a lot less expensive. You can buy fish when it's on sale and then defrost and put all together. Today, I've chosen to use a pound of shrimp, a pound of scallops, a pound of cod. So last night, I peeled and deveined my shrimp. When they come fresh, they don't usually come P&D'd. To that, I'm adding my scallops with as little juice as possible. I don't want to oversaturate with juice. Oh, these smell so good. And I just give that a quick mix. And I'm going to cut up my fish. Fish gets a little hard to cut, and I just like to cut them in bit-sized pieces, maybe about the size of the shrimp or the size of the scallop. This is, as I said, a seafood casserole. But whether I have my family or my friends, there's always somebody that says, I'm allergic to shellfish. So this morning, we're going to do the shellfish first, but then I'm going to show you how you can make the same recipe, but use only fish, no shellfish. But for now, we're going ahead. This makes a really good portion. It'll serve between 8 to 10 people nicely. And the one good thing about this is it's not all that hard to prepare. I have my gloves on. As you get older, your hands don't grip quite as well. The special treat about today is this is the first time I'm going to be making this recipe in my new stove. Yeah, we finally got rid of the old one. I hated to see it go. It was like an old friend. All right. Now that wasn't so bad. That was very quick and easy. We've got that really all mixed up. And I'm just gonna ramascati, as they say in Italian, mix it up. I did buy Yeah, you know me. I never follow the recipe. I did buy some minced clams, just a few. And I'm going to throw those in. Sometimes I'll buy a little bit of lobster meat, maybe a quarter of a pound or so, but that was really expensive yesterday, so I'm afraid the fourth fish I added were the clams. So, now comes the good part. You can buy Snow's clam juice, but even if you were to make the fish casserole, you couldn't use this because it's made with clam juice. So I'm going to put in half a jar of the clam juice, and it's 8 ounces. So you're going to use 4 fluid ounces. And we're going to put that in. And I'm going, whoa, I lost a shrimp. Can't do that. So we added our clam juice, mix that up, and 1/2 cup of milk. I tend to think that milk is like a soothing, and it just kind of like cuddles the fish. So we're going to mix that up. Okay, so that's good. So 3 pounds of anything you'd like, 1/2 bottle or 4 ounces of clam juice, 1/2 cup of milk, and we're going to take this and pour it in to my cooking dish. Now, it's only because you're visiting today that I used a bowl to mix that all up in. Ordinarily, I just mix it all up in the dish that I was going to cook it in. I'm lazy. The fewer dishes, the better. Now that this one is all prepped, all it needs is the breadcrumbs. We can set this aside, and I'm going to show you how to make it without the shellfish, just plain fish. Seafood prepared? Let's take the fish. I decided to make half a recipe, and to make life easier, I chose some tilapia, 1/2 pound, some salmon, 1/2 pound, and some cod, 1/2 pound. The original recipe calls for 3 pounds, whatever you'd like. Making half of that, well, it'd be 1.5 pounds. This is all purchased this morning. And I chose the salmon and the 2 whitefish. Chose the salmon just to give it a tiny, tiny bit of color. No other reason. You can choose any 3 kinds of fish your little heart desires. And I'm going to cut this into bite-sized pieces. And it is the same recipe, but no seafood. That way, people that are allergic to seafood don't feel bad that you have to make something very special for them. It's the same recipe, but just no seafood. So, this is my cod. As I said, if I have my family, Cousin Eric's allergic to seafood. If I have my friends, Felix is allergic to seafood. So this way, I can make a tiny casserole, and other people can try it as well. Look at that, nice, nice pink color. Isn't that lovely? I'm using a serrated knife. Sometimes that won't work either. Finally! It's a little hard to cut through. Voila! Another good thing about this recipe is I prepare them in the morning, get the dirty stuff out of the way, and then as the day goes on, I prepare everything else that needs to be done. So it's an easy recipe, easy to cook, not easy to slice. I got my cod, putting in my salmon. That was a little tricky. There we go. And my last one is, yep, tilapia. Much easier. Just going to take all of this with my hands and just mix it up. Ramascati, as we say in Italian. Ordinarily, I would have used clam juice, but we're not using any seafood. So I bought some fish stock. I had a friend who said, oh yeah, I saw the fish stock. It was with the clam juice, but it was down low to the ground. So I went to the store and I looked and looked and looked, could not find it. So I did something I don't usually like to do, is I bothered somebody at the store and I said, you have any fish stock? He said, yeah, in the soup aisle. So you may want to check both places. Now, the recipe calls for 4 ounces, but because we're doing this in half, we're only going to do 4 ounces, 2 ounces. So it's like a 1/4 cup. A bit. Smells good. And it usually calls for a cup of milk. So put that in. I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of milk. Here we go. So I like to cover my jars. I tip things over kind of easily. So and my last step is to just pour it into my baking dish. And voila! We're all ready to apply the last step to both recipes and bake. That's it. So, we've got our seafood casserole and we've got our fish no seafood casserole. This morning, I melted some butter, margarine. Butter doesn't sit well with a lot of people. And a box of panko breadcrumbs. And to that, I added a good helping of chopped garlic. This is just garlic that's in water and a little oil, I think. It's the next best thing to sliced bread. I can't abide crushing garlic. It takes too long. So I added some garlic, a dash of Worcestershire sauce. This helps change those very light colored panko breadcrumbs to a more buttery brown color. It just makes it a little bit more visually appealing. And it said to add a dash of Tabasco. Well, there may be more than a dash in the recipe. It may have a little zing to it. If you don't like hot or you don't like zing, don't add it. It's as simple as that. But it does help in bringing out all of the flavors. So, garlic, Worcestershire sauce, and a little Tabasco. And what I'm going to do is, as unscientifically as possible, I know I've got to put 1/3 of the recipe here and 2/3 there. Just spoon them all over. just about so it looks like that. Breadcrumb, garlic, Worcestershire, hot sauce. And I'm going to see just how many of these we need. Doesn't have to cover it entirely, but I would say a good 75%. Originally, this recipe called for Ritz crackers. I find that fish, even in a natural state, is just a little bit salty. So I don't like using Ritz crackers. We don't need any more salt in our life. So somebody suggested the panko, a little bit of crunch. I use the unseasoned kind. I can put a few more here. And a few more in here. And voila! To the 20 minutes, I deveined the shrimp last night. Half hour for this one. It's a really easy prep. You're supposed to cook it for between 35, 37 minutes at 350. My new stove actually cooks at the temperature you put it at, and it's a convection oven, so I'm going to put it at about 325 and cook it for the 30 minutes, but I'm going to let the fan go in the oven. Now, this I'm going to cook a little later today for tonight's supper. This I'm going to cook right away. I'm going to cover it with some tin foil, cover them both with some tin foil, and then I'm going to put this in the oven. Here's our fish casserole. I'm going to cover it. It says to bake for 30 minutes with this oven and the convection. I would say probably 24, 25, but I'll check it after 10 minutes or so. And here it goes. So that's the first one. That's just the fish. And here is the seafood. I'm going to cover that up as well. To cover it, totally covered, for about, well, maybe 1/3 of the time, and then poke some holes to let the steam vent out and cook it, and then uncut for 1/3 of the time, and then uncover the whole thing and let the top brown. That'll be for later. And voila, all we have to do is wait and eat. So we've let it cook 2/3 of the time. And now I'm going to take off the tin foil completely and give a chance for those breadcrumbs to brown up on the top. So, heavy door. I'm opening up. the last 10 minutes and we're all done. It's cooked. I'm gonna take this out, I'm gonna bring it to the table, and we're gonna have lunch. But before I do that, just remember, vino e amici e più meglio vecchia. Wine and friends are better with age. Bon appetit. Oh, it smells wonderful.
Remember, give it a second.
I think that looks spectacular. It's bubbling. It's browned without being burnt. Okay, stove, we'll keep you. Oh, I don't know how it tastes, but it smells really good. Bon appetit. Son pronto!